My name is Indi Sinclair, and this is Chance for Her. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Indi Sinclair, and this is Chance for Her. No matter who you are, where you are, or why you came, I am just so happy that you are here. I wish that you guys were here in real time so that I could actually get a gauge of like a show of hands, but how many of you are viewing this and would identify yourself as the strong friend? How many of you are viewing this and as you go through your life, as you go through your friendships, your relationships, whatever, people always assume that everything is okay, that you have everything all together, and that you are just this rock, right, in relationships. And the hope is that a lot of you feel like you can identify with this, because I know for me personally, all of my friends, at least if you let me tell it, are the strong friend. And what I mean by that is that maybe you actually don't have it all together, because no human being ever always has it all together, but that you have created this personality trait for yourself to where you are to appear as if everything is okay all the time. You never have any issues, you never face any inconveniences, and when you do, you don't need anybody else to help you clean them up. And I think that one of the, I guess you could say, like self-accountability lessons that I'm learning is that I have reinforced this narrative in my own life that people may have of me of being the strong friend. I have never publicly unraveled. I have never, and I'm not talking about like getting on social media and crying in front of the camera. I am saying I have never fully, until now, as an adult, let my friends, let my village into my life when it was unraveling thread by thread. And it's crazy because I think with being the strong friend, we have this tendency of not complaining, but we kind of walk through life with this narrative like nobody understands me, nobody fully cares about me, nobody has taken the time to get to know me beyond all the layers, and people just think that I always have it all together. But what if I told you that you built the same thing that you complain about? What if I told you that the reason why you are not being emotionally held in the way in which you yearn is because you have never allowed yourself to be emotionally received? You are the catalyst. You are the reason. And I'm not saying this is applicable to everybody's situation, but at least in what I'm speaking to, you are the reason why you're viewed as the strong friend. And if you're still having trouble, like, dissecting what I mean by that, you have to ask yourself, how many times have you been perceived as high functioning, right? You are the class president, class council, you want to do all the leadership stuff, you want to be the captain of all the teams, you always want to be busy, you never want to sit still, you want to go from here to here to here to here to here to here to here, or you always have a solution for everything. Something doesn't work, pivot. This doesn't work, pivot. And I'm not saying that these traits are anything bad, because I think that it's a double-edged sword. Like they can work in your favor in certain areas of life. But when it's time to be emotionally received, when it's time to be emotionally held, when it's time to allow yourself to not be the strong friend, this is why you have trouble in those areas. I think another thing, at least for me, being the strong friend, is I have a hard time letting silence linger. Like if I share with someone, one of my friends or my family, that something is bothering me, instead of just letting myself sit in the fact that something is bothering me, or instead of letting myself sit in the fact that something may not have gone the way in which I thought it was going to go, I have to then double down and say, but I have a solution for it, or but I figured it out. Or the extreme of this, I'm gonna fix the problem before anybody even knows that there was a problem to begin with, because I don't need help. I don't want help. And I know for me personally, like even as a kid, like looking back on it now and through high school and college and now where I sit as a young adult, like it's too much care, too much love, too much embrace, like feels foreign to me. It feels weird to me. Affection, like physical touch and friends wanting to hug you when you're crying, like that makes me feel weird. That makes me feel stiff. It doesn't make me feel weak, but I think it's almost this idea that if I let you in, if I admit that I need help, if I admit that I don't have everything figured out, if I admit that everything is not, skippy nippy, that maybe I'm weak, or that maybe I'm not the strong friend anymore, that maybe you won't count on me to be there for you, or that maybe none of those things are true and it's just something that I need to work out mentally from wherever this is stemming from, because I do believe that it's different, for each person. But I think it's important to acknowledge the fact that sometimes things that we sit and we complain about, or the things that we say about ourselves or self-proclaim, are also self-inflicted. I know that I like being capable. I like being respected. I enjoy being composed. I enjoy being the friend that people turn to when they don't know where else to turn. But in return, I think I've also created this wall, this cage for myself, to where I have convinced myself that everybody else doesn't want to see me like mess up. And what I mean by that is like that because I'm the strong friend, I have to always have it together. I have to always get it right. But in reality, I think a lot of that stems from the fact that, how I said, I never opened myself up to even be emotionally received. I never told somebody what was wrong and had the door shut in my face. I just was bracing for the door to be shut in my face, so I'm not even going to tell you what's wrong. And, we can get into the whys, maybe it's trauma, maybe it's this, but the reality is we're adults. And I think one of the most important things of becoming an adult is whatever the why or root is behind why you are the way you are, it's also your job for yourself, for no one other than yourself, to unlearn these patterns, to unlearn these things, and to embrace and welcome love into your life. And I say these things because one of the unique things about adulthood is that life only gets heavier. Life only gets harder. The trials and tribulations that you face only become, a little more serious. They're not as surface level anymore. Your responsibilities start to expand. And the reality of a situation is you can't self-carry through your whole entire life. And I think that's why people say, make sure you're checking on your strong friends, because those are most likely the ones who are experiencing depression or anxiety or pain or just their own mental turmoil, but have conditioned themselves to believe that they can't speak to you about how they're actually doing. And life and adulthood will show you very quickly that you can't build a life alone. And I think that's one of the blessings that the AUC has afforded me, throughout my time there, is this sense of community and this sense of being okay and letting somebody see it before it's solved. Letting somebody see what you're going through, letting somebody into your plans and your thought processes before they've fully evolved. Because I think community and having a village is how you actually get to where you want to be in life. And I'm not even talking about from like a career standpoint, but like from an emotional standpoint. Being able to be emotionally seen by your peers, by your loved ones, in my opinion, is more powerful and more important than thinking that you can get through life alone. We weren't placed on this earth to be alone, to get through life alone, to navigate friendships alone, to navigate heartbreak alone, and all these other things. So I just think that it's important that we lean into our village and lean into our people and acknowledge the fact that sometimes the reason why you feel like you're the strong friend is because you put that label on yourself. You built that wall yourself, and it's for you to, kind of like change that whole narrative. So I advise you, one thing that I'm trying to become more comfortable with, I think people say like lean into discomfort. Like literally lean into discomfort, sit in care, stay in affection, allow people to love on you, fall in love with somebody, trust people, tell your secrets to people, like allow yourself to be loved, allow yourself to be soft, allow yourself to be strong in knowing that being strong is sometimes being weak or sometimes asking for help. So I think building isolation and stuff like that can be a very lonely place. And I advise you that if you are watching this and if you do feel seen, or maybe you know someone who's experiencing these things, that you lean into that level of discomfort and allow yourself to be cared for. But remember that the light that you seek in this world is within you. My name is Indi Sinclair, and this is Chance for Her.